It's the summer of 2013. Man of Steel has just hit theaters, ushering in a new era for Superman on the big screen. Edward Snowden has leaked classified information about global surveillance programs, sending shockwaves through the world of politics and privacy. The Miami Heat have won the 2013 NBA Finals, defeating the San Antonio Spurs in a thrilling, unforgettable series. Daft Punk's Get Lucky is dominating the airwaves, its funky, infectious beat becoming a summer anthem. Meanwhile, Game of Thrones Season 3 has just wrapped up, leaving fans reeling from the devastating twists of the Red Wedding. Harlem Shake videos are still trending, flooding Twitter with bizarre and hilarious chaos. Instagram, still in its relative infancy, is beginning to take off as the new social media platform of choice for the younger generation. In the midst of all this, in the more obscure corners of the internet, something strange and unexpected begins to bubble up. A flash game called Kanye Quest 3030. It wasn't a traditional game by any means. It was an amalgamation of RPG elements, satirical pop culture commentary, and a flood of hip-hop references, including nods to figures like Lil B, who was riding high on a wave of viral popularity. The game seemed to come out of nowhere, quietly gaining traction in the niche online communities that thrived in the early days of meme culture. 2013 was a turning point in the online world. Social media was reaching its fever pitch, with platforms like Facebook and Twitter becoming increasingly entrenched in everyday life. Meme culture, once confined to the depths of 4chan and other obscure message boards, was rapidly seeping into the mainstream. Viral videos and internet challenges were becoming the norm, and the lines between traditional media and online culture were beginning to blur. Kanye Quest 3030 emerged as an artifact of this strange transitional time, a product of an internet that was both growing into its current form and still holding on to the weird experimental spirit that defined its early years. But why am I talking about this long-forgotten parody flash game from the early days of social media? See, I even played Kanye Quest 3030 myself back then. Yep, I stumbled upon it while browsing Tumblr. I remember thinking it was hilarious. At the time, I was really into Lil B, and when I discovered that the final boss was a giant floating head of the bass god himself, I couldn't stop laughing, and I couldn't not play it. It was absurd, ridiculous, and peak internet humor for the era. For those who don't know, the game's plot was as bizarre as you'd expect. In the game, you play as who else but Kanye West, who, while out for a jog in Los Angeles in 2010, stumbles into a time portal and gets transported to the year 3030. The world he enters is a dystopian nightmare, where hip-hop clones rule, and Lil B, the bass god, has risen as a tyrannical leader with a cult behind him. The game unfolds like a classic turn-based RPG, and as Kanye, you fight against various rapper clones like Tupac, Snoop Dogg, and even Jay-Z. The combat mechanics are straightforward, with attacks that play on hip-hop culture, and the dialogue is full of humor and satire. Yeah, I get it. If you're under 28, some of this probably sounds like pure nonsense, but trust me, this was proto-post-ironic meme culture at its finest. So I played it, I beat it, and I moved on. It was just a funny, surreal experience that left me laughing at its clever absurdity, or so I thought. Little did I know, there was something more lurking beneath the surface, something I had completely missed. Near the beginning of the game, there was a secret, a breadcrumb trail that only the most curious players would stumble upon. If you talked to a seemingly random NPC, you'd be prompted with an odd question, something cryptic and vague. The question was, what do you want to do? This is where the game took a hard left turn into something far more unsettling. The next step was crucial. You had to type the word Ascend. Once you did, everything changed. Suddenly, the parody game you thought you were playing reveals itself to be something else entirely. It would send you on a journey, one that shattered the humorous, hip-hop infused world you thought you understood. What followed was an experience that warped reality, leading you down a path towards something dark and cryptic. An experience that, quite literally, promised Ascension. It all began, innocuously enough, with a single player who, either out of idle curiosity or sheer boredom, decided to experiment with one of the game's numerous terminal-like consoles. These consoles are scattered throughout the pixelated world of Kanye Quest, normally used to progress the story or provide humorous, hip-hop infused information. Players interacted with these interfaces frequently, treating them as typical RPG elements that serve to enhance the game's comedic, satirical nature. But on this particular day, the player decided to type something different. In a moment of spontaneity, they entered the word Ascend. Whether the player had prior knowledge to what to do here is unknown. It wasn't a story-related command or an inside joke reference. The screen flickered, and the familiar Kanye Quest 3030 world began to transform, peeling away its colorful and absurd exterior to reveal something more enigmatic beneath. The player was suddenly transported to a blank gray room, the vibrant pixel art world replaced by a grayscale technological labyrinth littered with enigmatic consoles. The character sprite had transformed into a butterfly. No other characters were present, and no beats echoed through the background as it did in the regular game. Instead, the music shifts to dissonant piano notes, strange percussive hits, distant voices, and an eerie, enigmatic chime. An ominous message then appears, reading,
"Congratulations, you have proven yourself to be an open-minded and curious thinker. We must apologize for deceiving you, but we can reveal that the game you were playing until this point was a front, constructed to protect what you are currently accessing. We must ask that you do not reveal this area to the public. If you believe that you may be prone to revealing information or do not wish to participate, please close this program immediately by pressing Alt F4 or selecting the No option when it appears. By selecting Yes, you agree to participate and not reveal information. The following is a thought exercise designed to help teach you something beneficial. By undertaking this exercise, you will hopefully be affected in a positive way. Due to the nature of this exercise, this something cannot be revealed immediately. This exercise may or may not be restricted to the software. It is important to remember that the purpose of this exercise is to benefit you. You will not be timed. We cannot provide any more information, except that we wish you good luck. You may begin now. Welcome to your Ascension."
From here, the only way to progress through this monochrome zone is by flying to various consoles and inputting a series of passcodes, none of which are provided by the game. There are no hints to guide you, as if the game expects you to guess until you stumble upon the correct sequence. Players, through prior knowledge or hints found in online forums, were able to uncover these elusive passcodes. In total, there are 34 consoles, each requiring unique and seemingly random passcodes. Words such as unspun, Cusco, hatch, afoot, Brian, snowless, beeties, and Ilud. As the player inputs these codes, the screen gradually darkens, growing more oppressive as they work their way north through the labyrinth. By the time the final console appears, the screen would have faded to complete blackness. Then, upon entering the last code, the player is abruptly transported to a starkly contrasting white void. A blank, blinding room containing a solitary terminal. This part is the event horizon, a point where the player can choose to quit, turn back from whatever mystery lies ahead, or delve deeper by interacting with the final console. At this 34th console, the final passcode, Micropia, is input. Then perhaps the most eerie and invasive moment of the game begins to unfold. Text emerges on the screen.
You have proven your worth once again. You have ascended. However, further ascension is always possible. If you do not wish to ascend further, your journey ends here. So please close this program by pressing Alt F4 or selecting the No option above. By selecting the Yes option, you agree to participate further, and you grant us permission to interact with your possessions. Over the following 2-week time period, we will interact with you and your possessions in several ways. Keep an eye out, as some of these ways may be subtle, others may not be. We may attempt to contact you directly. If we do this, we will attempt to notify you of our presence using a keyword. If you still consent to participation, please select the option above. Do you wish to participate?
Whoa. It almost feels as though you're consenting to being watched, and ominous barely captures the feeling. Even at this stage, the game gives you one last chance to turn back. It's clear they're not joking around and only want people who are genuinely willing to continue no matter the cost, even if it means sacrificing their own privacy. Because if you choose to proceed, what happens next is deeply unsettling. The game prompts you to type in your real address, along with your full name. Once you provide this information, the game simply tells you to wait for further instructions, and then it abruptly closes, leaving you staring at your screen and asking yourself, what did I just agree to? Who did I just give my information to? What is happening? It's unmistakable now that this game harbors something much more sinister beneath the surface. There seems to be a real-life organization behind this game. A cult. A cult named Ascensionism. And you just handed your personal details to them. Players who had entered their information reported an uncomfortable sense of being watched, and some claimed that the game's ominous promise to interact with their possessions was not an idle threat. In the days following their so-called Ascension, stories began to surface. Doors and cabinets left ajar when people swore they had closed them. Objects mysteriously moved or misplaced, and random glitches on electronic devices such as lights flickering on phones, acting erratically. These occurrences were not consistent, but they were frequent enough to feed the paranoia growing within the player base, and most believe it was just a process of suggestion and confirmation bias. Their fear and paranoia for signing up made them hyper-focused and susceptible to being freaked out by any old thing in their day-to-day lives that seemed even slightly abnormal. Some players even claimed they received anonymous text messages, all signed with keywords lifted directly from the game, like Micropia or Ascension. The messages were short and cryptic, sometimes containing unsettling phrases like, "We are watching," or "Prepare for enlightenment." But again, how much of these online claims are true are left to speculation, and I'm sure many of them are not. Reddit threads, conspiracy forums, and gaming communities lit up with speculation. People started analyzing every line, every prompt, looking for hidden meanings in the game. The idea of a cult embedded in a Kanye West RPG seemed absurd. But the detail of the initiation sequence, the tone shift, and the use of words like ascend and enlightenment suggested there was something going on here. Theories varied wildly. Some believed it was an actual recruitment tool for a secret society or cult. Maybe Phoenix, the game's uploader, was using Kanye Quest to screen people who were open to certain spiritual ideas or susceptible to the allure of higher knowledge. The fact that the game asked for players' real names only deepened the mystery. Was this information being logged somewhere? Was Phoenix tracking these people? Others argued that the game might be a commentary on cult tactics, an attempt to expose how easily people can be manipulated through language and ritual. Perhaps Phoenix had designed the game as a meta-experiment, watching to see how far players would go in their curiosity, much like the thoughts around Cicada 3301. But the lack of further information from the developer only made the situation feel more sinister, adding fuel to the fire. Phoenix, the original uploader of the game, was nowhere to be found. After releasing Kanye Quest 3030, they completely vanished from the internet. No interviews, no follow-up projects, and no social media presence. Their absence fed the conspiracy theories. Was Phoenix even a real person, or was the developer itself part of a larger scheme? Why would someone go through the trouble of creating such an elaborate rabbit hole and then disappear without explanation? But the bigger question of all was, what exactly was Ascensionism? Ascensionism is described as a New Age cult that goes back to at least 2006. Its main beliefs focus around there being two spirits that make up a whole being: a physical spirit, the body, and an ethereal spirit, the soul. Long story short, souls live lifetime after lifetime until they reach a point where they are judged by themselves after a death, and upon deciding they have been sufficiently good, destroy themselves and become primordial soul stuffs from which new souls form. Okay, that's not too crazy of a belief system, but one of the most baffling elements in the Ascensionism story is the existence of Ascensionist records. This supposed record label has claimed on multiple occasions to have no affiliations with Kanye Quest 3030 or any cult-like organization. Now, despite this, the label openly uses the Ascensionism name and logo, which appears identical to those embedded within the game. Such similarities have led many to question the truthfulness of these denials. When digging deeper, the oddities surrounding Ascensionist records become even more pronounced. Online investigators have highlighted the label's old Twitter account, an account that made posts constantly, posts that were very erratic and random, which appeared to be from a bizarre stream of consciousness. Instead of promoting music or engaging with fans, the account just posted these random words and cryptic phrases daily, leaving followers puzzled about its true purpose. The content seemed disconnected from the operations of a conventional record label, reinforcing suspicions that something more nefarious or esoteric might be at play. Adding to the intrigue, Ascensionist Records maintained both a YouTube channel and an official website at the time. All these elements combined to confuse as to what the true purpose of Ascensionism and the record label really are all about. Despite the speculations, Most of the players who completed the secret Ascension stage in Kanye Quest never reported any concrete follow-up encounters, no signs of an active cult or any tangible presence of Ascensionists, or anyone for that matter. This lack of real-world evidence led many to believe that the whole thing must be an elaborate ARG, or even a practical joke, an internet phenomenon conjured by a single mastermind attempting to fabricate a hoax religion. Assuming that Ascensionist Records is a genuine, if odd, music label persisted, until a new piece of the puzzle emerged: the discovery of Calypso, a mysterious game available for download directly from the Ascensionist Records website, and it established an explicit connection to Kanye Quest and Ascensionism. On the surface, the game appears to be a conventional overhead RPG just like Kanye Quest, where you play as a girl navigating an island filled with intricate mazes. However, a peculiar detail stands out, almost immediately. In the upper left corner of the screen, nonsensical text is constantly displayed, shifting and twisting in a way that seems devoid of any coherent meaning. Sounds familiar? Yeah, just like Ascensionist Records' Twitter page. Now, the objectives in Calypso seem straightforward, with players tasked with exploring the island, solving simple puzzles, and interacting with various elements in the environment. Despite the apparently harmless nature of the gameplay, there is one distinctly eerie feature that sets it apart, other than the creepy text in the upper left: the voicemails. As players advance through Calypso, they come upon a series of unsettling audio messages that get stored in the in-game voicemail box. These voicemails are recordings left by various individuals who once called the Ascensionist hotline when it was still operational at the time of the game's original release, seemingly interested in becoming Ascensionists. Sadly, the hotline has since been deactivated, leaving behind only these eerie, fragmented remnants of communication. Take a listen.
This is absurdus. You know I'm still in this. Send me a message. You have my email. Send.
Hi, this is Reginald. Please call me back at... Thank you. Bye. Snowless Bravo, Light Storm. Snowless Charlie, Light Storm.
Man. M-A-N 854. Phone number. Time for contact.
As you can hear, these messages, while somewhat unsettling, don't provide any additional insight into the truth behind Ascensionism or its connection to Kanye Quest. The main question that arises from my research into this topic is whether Ascensionism, assuming it is a real religion, is being used by entities like Kanye Quest, Calypso, and even the Ascensionist record label as a platform for their own entertainment purposes and the creation of an online mystery. In other words, are they leveraging the name of the religion while remaining entirely separate from it? It's important to understand that everything related to this mystery has been taken offline. The original uploader of the game, Phoenix, as we said before, completely vanished from the internet shortly after uploading the game Kanye Quest. The Ascensionist Twitter account is gone. The initial page on the site where the game was uploaded is gone. The Tumblr site where it was later posted, where I even downloaded it, is gone. And the Ascensionist record label page is also gone. However, there is one potential clue that could help unravel this mystery. An internet user named Nick Lyons. His name appears on all the archived images connected to this enigma, most notably on the Ascensionist record label, where he was the only client and musician signed. Many researchers on the internet believed that Lyons is in fact, and was in fact, the mastermind behind the entire mystery, and that Phoenix was simply a pseudonym he used when he initially uploaded Kanye Quest. Lyons is likely behind the record label, the old Twitter account, the creation of both Kanye Quest and Calypso, and other elements tied to this puzzle. But the questions remain. Was he an Ascensionist, tasked by the group to recruit new members through unconventional methods? Was he acting alone, as a rogue digital missionary for the group? Or was he simply someone looking to create an online rabbit hole for users to fall into, one with no clear conclusion? Well, in the past 2 years, Nick Lyons, who at one point no one could get a hold of to ask him questions about the game or Ascensionism or anything related to this mystery, has finally revealed himself. As part of a 6-episode series on the YouTube channel Grouse House, the series titled Finding Yeezus chronicled a crew embarking on a comedic investigative journey to uncover the truth behind Kanye Quest and Nick Lyons. In the series, the Grouse House team actually physically tracks down Lyons with the help of a friend of his, ultimately finding him in the town of Ballarat, Australia. When they finally track down Nick Lyons and interview him, he opened up about his involvement in the mysterious saga surrounding Kanye Quest and Ascensionism. Lyons revealed that, contrary to the wild theories that had been circulating online, he was never part of some grand conspiracy or secret religious group. Instead, he admits that the creation of Kanye Quest was a personal project, born out of his fascination with digital culture, video games, and the idea of blending art with mystery. Lyons explained that Kanye Quest was meant to be an experimental game, exploring themes of fame, control, and the surreal intersection of celebrity and internet cultures. He says the whole Ascensionism label was something he adopted as part of the game's aesthetic, not as a real belief system. It was a way to create intrigue and an immersive experience for players, playing into the idea of an underground, hidden world. He also admitted that the creation of the game and its subsequent mystery grew out of control. Lyons said that he never anticipated how far the conspiracy theories would go, or how they would transform the narrative into something far beyond what he had envisioned. As for the mystery of Phoenix and the other elements tied to the game, Lyons said those were all part of the same creative experiment. He admitted to uploading Kanye Quest under the pseudonym Phoenix, but insists that it was merely another piece of the puzzle meant to provoke further online exploration and discussion. While some of the clues and references may have seemed cryptic, Lyons claims they were always intended to be playful and open to interpretation, and never meant to lead any grand truth or hidden revelation. There was nothing sinister, nothing esoteric, and nothing going on in a nefarious way. It was all just simply an experiment. Well, there you have it. It seems our assumptions about Lyons being behind it all were in fact correct. And it seems that this mystery that has lasted for more than a decade now is potentially solved? One question still gnaws at me. A question that Lyons himself never addressed in his interview. It's related to Calypso. If we are to assume that Lyons was behind the Ascensionist record label and its website, then it follows that he probably developed and uploaded Calypso for download. So if Lyons indeed created Calypso and claims to have no ties to the actual Ascensionist religion, there's one detail that remains deeply puzzling. The voicemails. These voicemails, to me, seem to be authentic recordings left by people on an actual Ascensionist hotline, with callers earnestly trying to become members of the Ascensionist group. The messages sound genuine and not fabricated for the game, which raises a significant question. How did Lyons gain access to these real-life recordings? If the voicemails were private and not publicly available on the internet, it would suggest a level of involvement or access that contradicts his denial of any connection to the group. This aspect of the mystery remains unanswered and makes one question Lyons' true relationship with this enigmatic online cult. Was this merely an art piece, or is there a hidden message still waiting to be uncovered? Lyons' decision to reveal himself has only heightened the mystery surrounding his work. Was this an intentional unveiling to close one chapter, or just another layer to the complex labyrinth he created? The deeper you go, the more complicated the mystery becomes, leading many to wonder if the answers were never meant to be fully uncovered. Even with the way I'm talking here, it is clear that this mystery has become a living, breathing entity, continually evolving with each new clue, each new theory, and each new discovery. The allure of the unknown, of something larger and more complex than we can grasp, keeps people coming back for more when it comes to this mystery, even with Lyons' answers. As technology and digital culture continue to shape our reality, the lines between entertainment, conspiracy, and reality will only continue to blur, and will make it increasingly difficult to distinguish between what is real and what has been fabricated for our consumption. The search for the truth behind Kanye Quest and Ascensionism may never truly end, but perhaps that is the ultimate point. An endless journey into the unknown, where the destination is not the answer, but the pursuit itself. Thank you for watching this final episode of the year of The Darchives. Thanks for tuning in since we started in midsummer. It's been quite a ride, and it's been a blast making these videos for you all to watch and enjoy. Happy holidays, and Happy New Year. We will see you in 2025. And until then, stay safe out there.